Very good morning, dear students. Welcome back to the class. Here, the video is for class 10th, subject science, chapter number 10, that is light, reflection and refraction. And this is lecture number 2. In today's lecture, we are going to cover the topics that what are spherical mirrors, what are their various types, what are the important terms used in case of spherical mirrors. We will also study the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature. And we will understand the sign conventions of spherical mirrors. So let us begin with spherical mirrors. To understand what a spherical mirror is, here in your NCERT book, activity number 10.1 is given. In this activity, what do? We take a large shiny spoon and we keep the curved surface having depth towards our side. If we see our face, let's say this is our face, in this spoon, then it seems there in the spoon. Now what we are going to do, we have to check that whether different positions of our face will affect the image formed of our face in the spoon. So first we keep our face far away from the spoon, then we keep on changing the position. We take it near to the spoon and we check that when the image will be clear. So at one position we'll get a clear image of our face. So here this part is behaving as a mirror which is providing the image of our face, but this is not a plane mirror because this is not a plane surface. It is curved one. What do? We reverse the spoon and then also we perform the same activity. That we check that what kind of image is formed in the spoon. Now the curved surface is having the elevation part towards our side. Because this is shiny, so this part will now behave as a reflecting surface. Now we have to check that how does the image look like now. Now we have to compare the characteristics of image formed in these two surfaces. So this activity, what does it tell to us? That the curved surfaces of shiny spoon could be considered as a curved mirror. I want to show you that this shiny surface of a spoon behaves as a curved mirror. So while performing the activity, what we have to do? We have to check whether the things or the object which is there in front of the spoon. So here we have a spoon and we have to check that this pen of mine is the object now and this is the shiny surface. So when we place the pen here, you will find that the image is inverted in the spoon and it varies, its clarity varies when you keep on varying the difference. So you can see it here, or you can see that when I see my face, it seems inverted. But when we keep on changing, the clarity of the image varies. The same thing happens when we are reversing the spoon. Now this is the reflecting surface which is coming outward. Now the image of my face is looking straight in the image, but the clarity will vary according to the distance from the mirror or the spoon. So this way we can conclude that these two surfaces, this and this, which are behaving as a reflecting surface, they can be considered as a curved mirror. Now let us define spherical mirror. Spherical mirror is a mirror whose reflecting surface is curved or spherical. On the basis of the reflecting surface, there are two types of spherical mirrors, concave and convex. You will later understand why concave mirrors are called convergent mirrors and why convex mirrors are called divergent mirrors. Let's understand how to make a spherical mirror. A spherical mirror is formed from a big hollow spherical glass. We take a portion of the sphere and we coat it one side with silver and we make the one part of it reflecting surface. So when we take the curved surface, we silver the outer edge and then we put a coating of some oxide of metal so that silver layer can be protected. Now this surface will not act as a reflecting surface because this is not shiny now, but the inner part will behave as a shiny surface. So this will be the reflecting surface. This is called concave mirror. So here with the dashed line I am showing that this part is not reflecting. So the inner part of this curved mirror is reflecting. You can also define concave mirror. That concave mirror is the part of the hollow sphere whose outer surface is silvered and inner surface, which is at the depression side, acts as a reflecting surface. So this is our concave mirror. But if we do the opposite, if we take the curved surface, we silver the edge and we put a coating of oxides on the depression side. Now the surface which is bulging out is the reflecting surface, and this is called convex mirror. So you can define convex mirror as the part of the hollow sphere whose outer surface acts as a reflecting surface and inner surface is silvered, as you can see it here. Now let us understand some of the important terms while using these spherical mirrors, because we will have to use these terms in the image formation using spherical mirrors. Now let us understand this, that what are the various terms used in case of spherical mirrors. So as you all know that the spherical mirrors or the curved mirrors, they are formed from a hollow sphere of glass. So that is a sphere, so it must be having a center point. And the sphere is made, so it must be having some radius out of which the sphere is formed. Now as we have cut the curved surface from the hollow sphere, so now this is my curved surface or the curved mirror which I'll be coating. Now, as this is the center of the sphere from which the curved surface is taken, this is called, because this is what? A curvature. So this is called center of curvature, denoted by capital letter C. This radius of the hollow sphere is known as radius of curvature. As we are cutting this portion, so only this much part is exposed to the incident light or the light which will be coming to the curved mirror. So this length is called aperture. If we divide the cut portion that we have taken from the spherical mirror into two halves, then this is called the midpoint of the curved surface is called the pole, denoted by a capital letter P. Now if we join the P and center of curvature and we extend this line in both the directions, then this line passing through the center of curvature and the pole is our principal axis. Now, if the incident light is coming parallel to the principal axis and falling on the curved surface of the spherical mirror, then all the parallel rays coming to the surface will get reflect back and will meet at a point which is called focal point or principal focus. Why this is called principal focus? Because all the radiations coming parallel, or I should say that all the incident light coming parallel to the principal axis passes through or meets or gets converged at a point which is called focus of the spherical mirror. So from here we got some points. Now let us discuss them in detail. So the very first part is center of curvature, that is C. Center of curvature is the center of the hollow sphere from which the curved mirror is taken, denoted by a capital letter C. Radius of curvature is the radius of the hollow sphere from which the curved mirror is taken, denoted by a capital letter R. Then we have pole. The midpoint of a spherical mirror is called pole and denoted by a capital letter P. Aperture, as I told you, that this is the part of the mirror which is exposed to incident light, called aperture. Principal axis, a line joining the center of curvature, pole, and extended on either sides. This will be our principal axis. Then we have our principal focus. Principal focus is the point on principal axis of spherical mirror. Remember, it is placed at the principal axis. where the rays of light coming parallel to the principal axis will meet after reflection. Now, as we have two types of mirror, one is concave. I am drawing it here to make you understand why they are called as convergent mirrors and why the convex mirrors are called divergent mirrors. So here let us understand first in the case of concave mirror. What happens here? This is our pole. Let's say this is the center of curvature. Then the line passing through is our principal axis. All the radiations which will come parallel to the principal axis they will strike the spherical mirror and they will get back because they have to follow the law of reflection. So here at this point, this will be the normal and the light will pass through a particular point. The same will happen at this end and the light will get reflected. But all the radiations coming parallel to the principal axis, they will meet at a point after reflection. So this is our principal focus, and that is why the concave mirrors are called convergent mirrors, because all the radiation coming to the spherical mirror, it is getting converged at a point and becomes focused. So that is why they are called convergent mirrors. But in case of a convex mirror, all the radiation coming parallel to the principal axis, because this is the only reflecting surface, so this will get reflect back. Now we have to extend them back, because to obtain an image, what we do? We need at least two reflecting lights meeting at a point. So here we see that the parallel rays, they are getting diverged. Now they are spreading up after reflection. And when we retrace them back behind the mirror, then we find that they appear to come from the focus point of the mirror. And that is why it is the reason that why convex mirror is called divergent mirror. Because it spreads the light or diverges the light coming to it. Then we have another important term, focal plane. Focal plane is the plane perpendicular to the principal axis and passing through the focus. Now let me make you understand this. As you see here, in both the cases we have our focus points. This is our principal axis. So if principal axis is parallel to the plane of paper, then the focus will be perpendicular to the principal axis. So here we have one paper which is now perpendicular, as you can see here, is perpendicular to the plane of paper, and in this paper the focus point lies. So this will be called as focal plane. In this plane of paper the focus will exist, The same will happen in this case as well, that this will be the focal plane. Then we have the focal length. Focal length is the distance between the pole and the principal focus. It is denoted by a small f. Here, the distance between the pole and the focus is called the focal length. So this is all about the terminology used in case of spherical mirrors. We also have to understand one more thing, that when you have a spherical mirror with you, whose either side is reflecting surface. So let's say here I am taking a concave mirror. Now, if you do not know what is the focal length of this curved surface, then how to know the approximate focal length of a mirror? Then for this, what we have to do, we have to take a concave mirror and we have to allow the rays, let's say coming from sun. We have to allow the incident light to fall on the converging mirror in this way that all the lines are parallel to the principal axis. So as we all know that all the radiation coming parallel to the principal axis should pass through the focus. But now we don't know where is the focus. So what we have to do, we have to take a screen or a paper and we have to converge all the light on the paper. We have to obtain an image for it. So we will obtain an image or a area which is lighting up. When we increase or decrease the distance, the intensity of this light coming to the paper will vary. So we have to change the position of the paper in such a way that the brightest spot can be obtained on the paper. Now, the brightest spot which is obtained on the paper is basically the image of the sun on the paper. And here, because this is the brightest spot, so all the radiation will focus here and we will get a bright spot. If we keep doing this for a very long time, the paper can also start burning. So we have to take care of a few things while doing this activity, that we do not see the sun directly because that can affect our arms. Then, now as we have got the brightest spot on the paper, we can measure this length with the help of a ruler and we can get the approximate value of the focal length of spherical mirror. Now let us understand the relation between the focal length and the radius of curvature. Let us understand this with the help of a concave mirror. So this is our concave mirror having the outer edge polished. So this will be our reflecting surface. The depression portion of this portion taken from the big hollow sphere will act as the reflecting surface. So this is our concave mirror. So here we will be having a pole. Obviously the center of curvature. If we join the line, we will get the radius of curvature R. If we extend this line, we will get our principal axis. Now, as we know that the radiation coming parallel to the principal axis, they get converged at a point, or they pass through the focus point of the spherical mirror. Now we have to understand the relationship between the focal length, this, and the radius of curvature. So what do? The line joining the center of curvature to the point of incidence is our normal. That means this is having an angle 90 degree at the surface of the spherical mirror. According to the law of reflection, the incidence light is making an angle I with the normal called incidence angle, and the reflecting light is also making an angle R with the normal. Now you can see it clearly. So now what do we have? Now let us take the triangle. Let us mark this point as A. So we have a triangle ACF. Here in this triangle, angle I, because this is not included in this, but you can understand that these are two parallel lines cut by one line. So this I will be equal to this angle because these are alternate angles. So now this becomes I. Now we have to understand that in triangle ACF, angle ACF is equal to the angle CAF, because angle I is equal to angle R here, according to the law of reflection. Now we know that when the two angles are same or equal to each other, then the corresponding sides will also be same. That means CF will be equal to AF. Now we have to try and understand that this spherical mirror, although this is a part of a hollow sphere, but this curved portion is a very small one, or it almost seems a plain surface. So when you drop a perpendicular, you get that the difference between these two lengths is not much. You can take this length equal to this length as well. So we can write AF equal to FP. Now we can also write on the place of FP F. So now we got to know that AF is equal to F, but AF was equal to CF in the previous equation. So we can write CF is equal to F by putting the value of AF in this equation. And what is CF? CF is the distance between the center of curvature and the focus. So now we got to know that CF is also equal to F, and FP was already equal to the focal length. Now these two equations are showing that FP is equal to CF and they both are equal to F. Here you can understand that this F point or the focal point is dividing this CP into two half portions. And what is CP? CP is R. So R can be written as FP plus CF. FP is also F and CF is also F. That means R is equal to 2F. So this is our basic relation between the radius of curvature and the focal length of the spherical mirror. You can also write it as R by 2 is equal to the focal length. Now let us understand the sign convention. So first we are taking the concave mirror. So the first point in sign convention is that all the distances are measured from pole. So if this is the direction of the incident light, then all the heights above this principal axis, either in front of the mirror or behind the mirror, will be taken as positive values. All the depths in front of the mirror or behind the mirror will be taken as negative values. All the distances, as we are starting to measure the distances from the pole, and we have to go in the direction of the incidence ray. So all the distances measured in the direction of incidence ray will be positive, and all the distances measured against the direction of incident ray will be negative. So for a concave mirror, here we will have the positive values. Below this principal axis we will have the negative values. Behind the mirror, positive distances will be there. In front of the mirror, negative distances will be there. In all the kinds of image formation, a few things that we will have is the object. So object is always taken as A, B and denoted like this, an arrow upside. Then we have an image that will be A dash, B dash. As all the distances are measured from pole, so the distance between the object and the pole will be called as U, small u. And the distance of image from the pole will be written as small v. Now, as the object is having some height, it will be taken as small h. And the height of the image will be taken as h dash to distinguish between the object and the image. So now we have understood the sign conventions for a concave mirror. So same thing applies to the convex mirror. But in case of a convex mirror, the bulging out surface is the reflecting surface. So if this is the direction of incidence ray, we will have our focus, center of curvature behind the mirror. So the same rule applies that all the distances will be measured from pole. All the distances measured from pole in the direction of incidence ray will be positive. Against the direction of incidence ray will be negative. All the heights will be taken as positive and all the depths will be taken as negative values. Now let us compare these things. In case of a concave mirror, we have a few things, F and R. So for concave mirror, focal length and radius of curvature both will be negative. For a convex mirror, as both are behind the mirror and in the direction of incidence ray, so both will be positive. We'll later understand that how to take the sign convention for object, image and their heights. Now let us solve one small numerical, that we have the radius of curvature of a spherical mirror 30 centimeter. Find the focal length of the mirror. So what is given to us? Radius of curvature, that is R. R is given as 30 centimeter. We have to find the F. Now we know that F is equal to R by 2. This relation we have find out. So if we put the value of R here, we'll get 15 centimeter. So the focal length of the mirror will be 15 centimeter. Suppose you are given that the radius of curvature of a concave mirror is 30 centimeter, and then you have to find the focal length of the mirror. Then this value will be taken as negative because R is already negative, so we have to write it as minus 15 centimeter. Now let us see today's lecture's homework. In today's lecture, you have some in-text questions from your NCERT. So at page number 68, 2 questions related to the topic that we studied. Question number 1 is, define the principal focus of a concave mirror. Question number 2 is, the radius of curvature of a spherical mirror is 20 centimeter. What is its focal length? At page number 170, question number 3 for today's homework is, find the focal length of convex mirror whose radius of curvature is 32 centimeter. So this is your homework for today. Now let us see the homework solution for previous lecture. So this was your homework for previous lecture. You were having 3 questions. First question was, what are the laws of reflection? So there are 2 laws of reflection. The first is that the angle of incidence I is equal to the angle of reflection. The second law says that the incidence ray and reflected ray and the normal, they all lie in a same plane. So these were 2 laws of reflection, but whenever you are asked to show or to write the laws of reflection, you always have to make a diagram for this, that if this is the surface, reflecting surface, and incident slice is coming at this particular point, so we have to draw a normal at this point. Now it gets reflected in this way, so this will be our incidence ray, reflected ray, our normal, angle I, angle R. So now you have to write these 2 laws. Now the second question is, what is the difference between the real and virtual images? So real image is obtained by actual cross-section of the reflecting light rays, and virtual image is obtained from not actually the reflecting lights, they are not actually meeting. They appears to meet at a point when they are traced back behind the mirror. Real images can be obtained on screen, whereas virtual images cannot be obtained on screen. Then real images are always formed in front of the mirror, whereas the virtual images are formed behind the mirror. Real images are always inverted, whereas the virtual images are always erect. So these were the differences between the 2. Now question number 3 is, what is reflection of light? Reflection of light So when we have a surface and the light coming to the surface or falling on the surface returns back or bounce back in the same medium, then this phenomenon is called reflection of light. This is as same as that you hit a rubber ball with a wall and it bounces back. So this is all about today's lecture. We'll see you in the lecture number 3. Till then, take care and goodbye.